YouTube, how are you now? Back on Battlefield 2042, breaking down some more weapon stats. This time we're going to be doing the SMGs, so the PBX-45, the PP-29, the MP-9, and the K-30 Vector. Link down below for the previous video that covers the basics of how this works, how suppressors work or don't work in this game. So you might want to check that out if you haven't seen that one yet. Again, big thanks to Reddit user Toric Darkrise for gathering all these stats, testing all the weapons and attachments, and putting them together in this chart here. PBX-45, you have your standard ammunition here, high power, CQC, subsonic. Standard ammunition does 26 damage out to 5 meters, 22 damage out to 20 meters, 18 damage out to 40 meters, 15 damage out to 75 meters, and then 13 damage beyond that. Standard suppressed does 24 damage out to 5 meters, 20 damage out to 20 meters, 17 damage out to 40 meters, 14 damage out to 75 meters, and then 12 damage beyond that. Your rate of fire with the standard long barrel combo is 750 rounds per minute, and then standard factory barrel combo, suppressor combo, compensator muzzle brake combo is going to be 800 rounds per minute. High power rounds do 26 damage out to 5 meters, same thing, 22 damage out to 40 meters, so it extends this range by double. 18 damage out to 75 meters, almost another double extension here, and then 15 damage beyond that. So you don't have that last damage drop off here, but you do have a slower fire rate. Higher power suppressed, 24 damage out to 5 meters, 20 damage out to 40 meters, 17 damage out to 75 meters, 14 damage beyond that. Your high power long barrel combo is going to be 700 rounds per minute. Your high power everything else combo is going to be 750 rounds per minute. And then the CQC rounds, you have 26 damage out to 10 meters. So this extends that first damage range by double, but it's only 5 meters, so it's not that big of a difference. But this is your best option up close because you have the fastest fire rate possible with the most damage within 10 meters. So it extends that first damage range by double, and then you get a faster fire rate as well. And then 22 damage out to 20 meters, 18 damage out to 30 meters, 15 damage out to 50 meters, and then 13 damage beyond that. CQC suppressed, 24 damage out to 10 meters, 20 damage out to 20 meters, 17 damage out to 30 meters, 14 damage out to 50 meters, and then 12 damage beyond that. Your CQC long barrel combo is going to be 800 rounds per minute. Your CQC factory, suppressor, muzzle brake, compensator combo is going to be 850 rounds per minute. And then subsonic ammunition does 26 damage out to 5 meters, 22 damage out to 30 meters, 18 damage out to 50 meters, 15 damage out to 75 meters, and then 13 damage beyond that. It's pretty similar to the standard ammunition, but it does extend these two ranges by 10 meters each, with a slower fire rate though. Subsonic suppressed does 24 damage out to 5 meters, 20 damage out to 30 meters, 17 damage out to 50 meters, 14 damage out to 75 meters, and then 12 damage beyond that. Your subsonic long barrel combo is going to be 700 rounds per minute. Subsonic everything else combo, 750 rounds per minute. So just a brief recap on these time to kill charts. You have your different ammo types. So standard, high power, close combat, subsonic, mixed with your different barrel combinations, and then you have no armor versus armor. The time to kill charts, they compare no armor versus no armor, and then armor versus armor. So these two right here are your fastest time to kills, even though they're different, 212, 282, but this is for armor. So armor is only being compared against armor, whereas no armor is only being compared against no armor. How the chart works is red is your fastest time to kill, orange is within 50 milliseconds of that fastest time to kill, yellow is within 100 milliseconds, light green is within 150 milliseconds, dark green is within 200 milliseconds, and then grays are going to be outside of 200 milliseconds. So the PBX-45, you have all the different stuff here. Obviously your close combat rounds are going to be your fastest time to kill within close range. So within 20 meters, it's the fastest time to kill possible for this weapon. But there are some contenders. So orange is still really good, still within 50 milliseconds. And then even out to 30 meters is still really good, although it's not the fastest killing possible with this. The high power rounds are going to be your fastest killing at those ranges. So beyond 20 meters, your high power, and then whatever compensator or muzzle brake you want to run is going to be your fastest time to kill beyond 20 meters. And it's still pretty good even within that 10 to 20 meter range, and even within that 5 to 10 meter range, but it drops off really hard within that 5 to 10 meter range. So within 5 meters it's really good, but then 5 to 10 meters, it's only 5 meters, but I mean that's a huge drop off. That's 150 milliseconds, within 150 milliseconds. So 212 versus 320, and then 282 versus 400 milliseconds. That's a huge difference. So generally you're going to be running into a lot of enemies in that range as an SMG user, so that's going to hurt you pretty bad. But then at every other range it's really good. So depends how you want to play it. If you want to sacrifice that 5 meter range for a lot more consistent performance at range, that would be your best bet. But if you want it purely for that close combat, you're going to want to run the close combat and factory setup here. So it's the best within 20 meters and then really good within 30 meters, but then it drops off really hard at those longer ranges too. So within 30 to 40 meters it's 150 milliseconds behind almost, but then it's good again within 40 to 50 meters, and then it's bad again within 50 to 75 meters. So it's all over the place, but it's your best bet for close range. So for the PBX 45, I would recommend the close combat ammunition just to maximize that rate of fire, and then the compensator for horizontal recoil control just to make your shots a little bit tighter. Vertical recoil control is not too bad on this weapon, but horizontal you can't really compensate for, so that's going to make it more accurate. And then the grips that increase your accuracy while moving, because you're going to be moving around while shooting with an SMG. But you could use any other attachments as well. Those will work depending on what you need them for. And then the sights, whatever you're most comfortable with in the ranges you prefer to use them in, but I like the Fusion Hollow. So with the PP29 you have your standard ammunition, your high powered ammunition, and your subsonic. Standard ammunition does 26 damage out to 30 meters, 22 damage out to 40 meters, 18 damage out to 50 meters, 15 damage beyond that. Suppressed, you're going to be doing 24 damage out to 30 meters, 20 damage out to 40 meters, 17 damage out to 50 meters, and then 14 damage beyond that. Your standard long barrel combo is going to be 650 rounds per minute, and then your standard factory barrel, suppressor, compensator, muzzle brake combo is going to be 700 rounds per minute, which is the max fire rate for the PP29. Your high powered rounds do 26 damage out to 30 meters, 22 damage out to 50 meters, so this extends this second damage range by 10 meters, 18 damage beyond that, so you don't have that last damage drop off, but you do have a slower fire rate. High power suppressed does 24 damage out to 30 meters, 22 damage out to 50 meters, and then 17 damage beyond that. Your high powered long barrel combo is going to be 600 rounds per minute, and your high powered factory barrel, suppressor, and muzzle brake compensator combo is going to be 650 rounds per minute. And then subsonic, you have 26 damage out to 30 meters, 22 damage out to 40 meters, 18 damage out to 75 meters, and then 15 damage beyond that. So these ranges are the same as the standard, but you get 25 extra meters on this last or second to last damage range here. So 50 meters here, 75 meters here. Subsonic heavy suppressor does 24 damage out to 30 meters, 20 damage out to 40 meters, 17 damage out to 75 meters, and then 14 damage beyond that. Your fire rates for subsonic long barrel combo is going to be 600 rounds per minute, and then your subsonic factory barrel heavy suppressor compensator muzzle brake combo is going to be 650 rounds per minute. On the PP29 you have your standard ammunition here, high power here, subsonic here with your different barrel setups. The fastest time to kill up close is going to be your standard and factory setup, so either compensator or muzzle brake. Out to 40 meters, that's going to be your best time to kill here. But the orange is still really good as well, so all these compete within that same range. But this is your fastest time to kill. But then at longer ranges, it drops off quite a bit, so your high power is actually going to be the best at that longer range, and it's still really good even within those close ranges as well. So your high power is probably your most consistent performer for the PP29. It is only slightly slower, so 20 milliseconds here, 26 milliseconds here, which is pretty negligible. And then what, 33 milliseconds here, so yeah, very negligible difference, but then a lot faster at long range too. So your most consistent performer is going to be your high power, and then either a muzzle brake or compensator. So the suppressor does negatively affect it pretty bad here, so it goes almost 100 millisecond difference out to 35 meters, which is a significant range against no armor. There's no effect against armor, but no armor is much slower time to kill. Same thing if you're running standard rounds as well. It's almost 100 millisecond difference out to 35 meters. So I wouldn't recommend the suppressor. It's too big of an impact within quite a large range as well. So for the PP29, I would recommend the standard issue rounds just to maximize that fire rate again. Although the high power rounds are still a very good option. You do get more ammo per magazine in the standard issue, so 65 rounds versus 54 rounds on the high power. But either is a really good option. You don't have anything down in the underbarrel, so. And again, the compensator for horizontal recoil control, because that's the main issue on the SMGs, is they do bounce side to side a little bit. So if you want a tighter accuracy grouping, your horizontal recoil control is what you're going to want to be aiming for. And then the hollow sight, yet again. This one's actually a little bit different than the other hollow sights. This one has that triangular reticle with the two lines going down, but I use this one over the standard hollow simply because this one gets rid of the iron sights on the rail. So the other one, let me see which one that one is. Yeah, this one here, this one still has the iron sights on the rail there, as you can see, and the front sight actually takes up a good amount of the sight's picture. It blocks quite a bit of it, so whereas this one doesn't have anything blocking the sight, even though the actual reticle isn't as good as this one. But yeah, this is personal preference. You can use whichever sight you prefer, but that's the sight that I like best on this weapon. So the MP9, we have standard ammunition, CQC ammunition, and then subsonic. Standard ammunition does 22 damage out to 30 meters, 18 damage out to 40 meters, 15 damage out to 75 meters, and then 13 damage beyond that. Standard suppressed does 20 damage out to 30 meters, 17 damage out to 40 meters, 14 damage out to 75 meters, 12 damage beyond that. Standard heavy suppressor does 19 damage out to 30 meters, 16 damage out to 40 meters, 13 damage out to 75 meters, and then 12 damage beyond that. Your fire rates are going to be 850 rounds per minute with the standard ammunition. The CQC ammo does 26 damage out to 5 meters, so this damage range isn't available on either of the other ammunition types, but it is only out to 5 meters. So it's a very small, short range for a fast time to kill with this. Very fast time to kill. The fastest you can possibly get matches the K30, but it's only within 5 meters. And then 22 damage out to 30 meters, 18 damage out to 40 meters, 15 damage out to 50 meters, and then 13 damage beyond that. So these damage profiles match the standard ammunition, except this 50 meter range, whereas this goes out to 75 meters. CQC suppressed, you do 24 damage out to 5 meters, 20 damage out to 30 meters, 17 damage out to 40 meters, 14 damage out to 50 meters, and then 12 damage beyond that. And then your CQC heavy suppressor does 23 damage out to 5 meters, 19 damage out to 30 meters, 16 damage out to 40 meters, 13 damage out to 50 meters, and then 12 damage beyond that. And you're going to get your max fire rate with this close combat rounds of 900 rounds per minute with the MP9. And then your subsonic ammunition does 22 damage out to 40 meters, so it extends that first range by 10 meters compared to the standard ammunition. 18 damage out to 50 meters, so another 10 meters here. 15 damage out to 75 meters, so this is the same as the standard, and then 13 damage beyond that. So you're increasing the first two ranges by 10 meters with the subsonic ammunition, but you're dropping the rate of fire by 50 rounds per minute. Subsonic suppressed does 20 damage out to 40 meters, 17 damage out to 50 meters, 14 damage out to 75 meters, and then 12 damage beyond that. Subsonic heavy suppressor does 19 damage out to 40 meters, 16 damage out to 50 meters, 13 damage out to 75 meters, and then 12 damage beyond that. And you have an 800 round per minute rate of fire with the subsonic ammo. So for your MP9, you have your standard, close combat, and subsonic ammunition. I forgot to highlight the armors, but it works the same way. Obviously, your fastest time to kill is going to be your close combat. Out to 30 meters, it's the fastest time to kill possible for this weapon. And then within 5 meters, it even competes with the K30 for the fastest time to kill possible against no armor with 200 milliseconds. That's the fastest time to kill for full auto. And then even out to 50 meters, it's still really good. So even against your best performing ammunition type within that range, it's still within 50 milliseconds. So it's still really good out to 50 meters. Even against armor out to 75 meters, but then it drops off really hard against armor out to 75 meters. But then again, it's the best at 100 meters plus. So 75 meters beyond is going to be your best bet, and then your best bet within 30 meters, and also competitive within that range as well, except against armor in that 50 to 75 meter range. That's only beat against standard here. So standard is the fastest in that range, and it's really good at almost every other range, but I would still probably recommend the close combat just because it's the most consistent, and then you're going to be using the MP9 within those close ranges anyway, so that's your best bet there. The suppressor does hurt it within 5 meters by 67 milliseconds against no armor, but then it's basically no effect in any other situation out to 30 meters. It does affect against armor beyond that, and then again at that 40 to 50 meter range, and then as well here. So at longer ranges, the suppressor is going to hurt you, but at close range, it's only going to hurt you within 5 meters by 67 milliseconds. So if you need that fastest time to kill possible within that range, you're going to want to not use the suppressor, but outside of that, within 30 meters, suppressor is a perfectly good option as well. So for the MP9, I would recommend the close combat ammunition, either the drum mag or the extended mag. Drum mag's preferable because you get 50 rounds versus the extended, I believe, is only 30 rounds. So, but it does reload a little bit slower with the drum mag, and you only get one reserve drum mag, so it's 50 rounds, and then you get another 51 rounds. So you only get 2 magazines basically with this one, whereas with any of the other ones you get like 3 or 4 total. But the drum mag is going to give you the most ammo, and then the compensator again for horizontal recoil control, just to make the accuracy a little bit tighter. The grips for accuracy while moving again, and then the hollow sight. So for the K30, you have standard ammunition, high powered ammunition, and then subsonic. Standard ammo does 22 damage out to 5 meters, 18 damage out to 20 meters, 15 damage out to 40 meters, 13 damage out to 75 meters, and then 12 damage beyond that. Standard suppressed does 20 damage out to 5 meters, 17 out to 20, 14 out to 40, 12 out to 75, and then 11 beyond that. Standard heavy suppressor does 19 damage out to 5 meters, 16 out to 20, 13 out to 40, 12 out to 75, and then 11 beyond that. And your standard ammunition does 1200 rounds per minute, so that's the fastest fire rate you can get with the K30. High powered ammunition does 22 damage out to 10 meters, so this doubles that first damage range. 18 damage out to 30 meters, so this increases that damage range by 10 meters. 15 damage out to 40 meters, so this is the same. 13 damage beyond that. So then you don't have this last damage drop off as the standard ammunition does. High powered suppressed does 20 damage out to 10 meters, 17 damage out to 30 meters, 14 damage out to 40 meters, and then 12 damage beyond that. High power heavy suppressor does 19 damage out to 10 meters, 16 damage out to 30, 13 damage out to 40, and then 12 beyond that. And your high powered rate of fire is going to be 1150 rounds per minute. And then subsonic does 22 damage out to 10 meters, so it matches the high powered rounds there. 18 damage out to 30 meters, same as high powered. 15 damage out to 40 meters, same as high powered and standard. 13 damage out to 50 meters. So this cuts off before either of these two ammunition types. And then 12 damage beyond that. Subsonic suppressed does 20 damage out to 10 meters, 17 damage out to 30, 14 out to 40, 12 out to 50, and then 11 beyond that. Subsonic heavy suppressor does 19 damage out to 10 meters, 16 out to 30, 13 out to 40, 12 out to 50, and then 11 beyond that. And your subsonic rate of fire is going to be 1100 rounds per minute. And then you have your K30 here. You got your standard ammo, your high powered ammo, your subsonic ammunition. Your fastest time to kill in the close range is going to be your standard ammo. 200 millisecond time to kill within 5 meters is the fastest time to kill possible for any full auto. It's the second fastest within 5 to 10 meters, but only by so this is what, 41 milliseconds, and this is 39 millisecond difference, so it's a negligible difference there. And then against the fastest within 20 meters, but also a negligible difference between these two as well. Second fastest here, but negligible difference here against high powered, and then the fastest beyond that. So either option is really good. Depends on what ranges you plan on using this weapon at. But the standard seems to be the best bet overall, simply because it has the fastest time to kill possible in the biggest ranges. So up close, it's the best, even though it's a negligible difference here. So I mean, both kill very fast, but the high power does shoot slower, and it does have more recoil. So you're going to be hitting more consistently with the standard ammunition, and it has a faster fire rate, so it's going to be a little bit more forgiving as well in that regard. But both options are really good. Even the subsonic ammunition is still competitive all the way out to that 50 meter range. So it really depends what you want to use, but the best bet if you want the fastest killing gun possible is going to be your standard ammunition type. You can run the suppressor if you really want to, but it does hurt you at certain ranges. So it doesn't hurt you within 5 meters, but it does hurt you by 50 milliseconds within 10 meters. So 5 to 10 meters, it hurts you by 50 milliseconds. But within 10 to 20 meters, it hurts you by 50 milliseconds against armor. Okay, so against no armor, it has no effect, but against armor, it does hurt you. But then within 20 to 30 meters, it hurts you in both by 50 milliseconds. So you're losing 50 milliseconds against armor or no armor. And the same story goes beyond that as well. So 50 milliseconds isn't all that much, but it is an extra shot. So if you're not hitting all your shots, that could add up. And then if you're getting that last shot as they go behind cover, that could be the difference between a kill and a not a kill as well. So one shot at 1200 rounds per minute, it's not all that big of a deal, but it can make a difference, especially if you're not at 100% accuracy. So nobody's going to be shooting at 100% accuracy. So if you're missing shots, that one shot could add up to even more than 50 millisecond difference. So obviously the fastest time to kill is going to be running it without a suppressor, the standard rounds, but you could use a suppressor if you really want to stay off the minimap within that, beyond that 20 meters. So the standard suppressor is only going to keep you off the minimap outside of 20 meters. It's not going to help you within 20 meters. You're still going to show up on the minimap if enemies are within 20 meters while you're firing suppressed. The heavy suppressor will keep you off the minimap at all ranges, but it hurts you even more than the standard suppressor does. So it hurts you by 50 milliseconds against armor and against no armor, whereas the standard suppressor doesn't against no armor. So, and then as you go down here, this hurts you by 100 milliseconds against armor. This hurts you by 100 milliseconds against armor. And then 50 milliseconds here, 50 milliseconds here. So 50 milliseconds isn't so bad, but 100 milliseconds you're going to notice. That's for sure. But it does keep you off the minimap at all ranges. So if you really want to be sneaky, you really want to try to flank people and outplay them without ever showing up on their minimap, you can run the heavy suppressor. But just keep in mind that it is going to slow down your time to kill. Within close range, it's not by much, 50 milliseconds, not too bad. But then you're going to start losing like 100 milliseconds at 20 plus meters, which is very noticeable. So for the K30, it's going to be similar to all the other SMGs. You're going to want to run the fastest ammunition type, which is just the standard issue on this, standard issue drum mag. I don't know why the subsonic's in here. I think I accidentally selected that. Yeah, so I'm going to replace that with that one. So, and then you also have the extended mag you can use as a backup. So this has 50 rounds, this has 40 rounds. It's not too big of a difference, but if you run out of ammo with this one, you can always switch to this and you'll have your full reserve stack ready to go. And then the compensator for horizontal recoil control again, the grip for accuracy while moving, and the hollow sight, just like all the other SMGs. So yeah, that's gonna conclude the weapon stats and time to kill charts for all the weapons in Battlefield 2042. Just recap the best time to kills for each of the full auto guns and how they compare against each other. This was in the very first episode in the beginning, but if you missed that, you can always refer back to this. K30 is the best all around, even at long ranges, but you have to consider that you're not going to be hitting those shots full auto at 100 plus meters. So it is possible to beat it with other guns. So like the PKP, if you have it bipoded, you can probably fire at full auto and still hit those long shots, whereas the K30, you full auto, you're not going to hit those long shots. So the PKP could actually beat the K30 at those long ranges, even though the theoretical time to kill is much faster on the K30. But yeah, this is just theoretical time to kill. So recoil, bullet velocity, moving targets, all that's going to affect this time to kill. This is just if you're at 100% accuracy at full auto, which is not going to be the case realistically, but this just gives you an idea of how quickly things can kill and how they compare against each other. K30 is the clear standout. M5 is also really good out to 30 meters, even good out to 50 meters, but it falls off against the K30 just because the K30 kills so fast. But it competes with the K30 out to 30 meters, so that's really good. The PPX-45 competes with the K30 out to 20 meters, so not as great at other ranges, but still close quarters, it's a good gun. The PP-29 is not as good within the 5 meters, but it can compete within the 10 and 40 meter range pretty well, so that's a good gun. MP9 is a good gun, competes really well out to 50 meters, even though it's not as good within the 5 to 10 meter range, but it's still in there. So I mean, it's only 17 milliseconds difference between this the K30, so it competes really well with the K30 out to 50 meters, so it's a really good gun as well. But yeah, so this is no armor, and then this is armor, and then you have other weapons that perform on various degrees at different ranges. So I mean, you just have to pick and choose what you want to use for what range you plan on using them at. But yeah, thanks for watching yet again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.